Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Chosen Scoop. I'm Jim Luff. Joining me today is Janelle Capra. She's the Executive Director of the Alzheimer's Disease Association of Kern County, and that's located in California. Welcome to the Scoop, Janelle.
Thank you, Jim. It's great to join you.
Well, let's share some information for our audience about the history, the services, and programs offered by ADAKC.
Wonderful. Yes. Well, ADAKC is a 38-year-old plus nonprofit. We were formed first as a support group through a church off Olive Drive and grew to the campus that we are now on the Rose Lazzarini campus here in Southwest Bakersfield. It is a community that built this campus for us through a capital campaign of more than $3.5 million. And 7 years later, here we are through COVID, through all these things, continuing to serve those on the Alzheimer's journey. It's a blessing to be able to help another family who's going through this. I know it quite personal, and we're here. We're here to support you Monday through Friday, 7 to 5 at ADAKC.
That's fantastic. And true, I did not know that you started at a church. What you've grown into today is certainly something substantial for the primarily the community of Bakersfield, California, but also surrounding cities in Kern County. I know that you had a major fundraiser last Friday,
Yes.
and can you tell us a little bit about that fundraiser, what the intention was, and how'd you do?
Thank you. Well, so it's called our Heart Never Forgets Gala. And the history to that goes back almost a full decade in having that event at donor homes, at, country clubs, sought after destinations in town. And when COVID hit, we had to take pause. So last year, it was decided by our board and staff to bring this event to our campus so that we could really shine a spotlight on the work we do here at our center. And last year, of course, was more of a controlled, modified capacity. There was still a lot of things going on. And so we were grateful to be able to have success with that. And having it now just, again, an annual event, it was magical. Just some really special, meaningful moments. We had a kickoff of a beautiful song, Remember Me by Coco, that was done a cappella, one of our committee members' daughters. It led into a folklorico dance group. And then, just some meaningful moments. Kevin Charette and Danny Hill and our own Katie Allen, who was on our capital campaign, is our currently vice president. So it's just a really special event that we will end up fundraising and raising more than probably $130,000 gross, which is huge.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is fantastic. When I listen to you talk, Janelle, you have such passion in your voice when you're speaking about this. I have to ask, how long have you been the executive director? Tell us a little bit more about that role and how you got associated with ADAKC in that capacity.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it is because it was a personal journey. My mom was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's at age 65. And so through that journey, I was invited to join the board, and I served as a board member, and then quite quick was voted in to be board president. So I served as board president for a couple years. And then when the need came for a new executive director, at the time, I just felt that tug at my heart that it was time to step down as board president and, step into the running for executive director. So I've served in this role since April 2019, and it's never boring. I can tell you that. That's for sure. And through the pandemic and having to close for quite some time and become a center beyond our walls, that's what we did. But we're here, we're still thriving, and it's just, it's an honor to be able to serve in this role.
And now I can see that passion goes back a long way.
Yeah.
To serve on the board and then decide that you want to take a paid position running the business. You certainly came in with an upper hand because you knew the issues that were facing the organization. So how perfect that all worked out for you. And I was going to ask you if Alzheimer's had touched your family, and of course you've indicated that it had. So I think that would probably make it a little more passionate for you, because you know what this organization means to families, And I mean, to get down to a granular level of what you do, uh, I don't know if most of our audience has ever had the opportunity to take care of another adult
Mhm.
in a caring capacity. Now, I can tell you that a couple of years ago, my wife had some major back surgery, had her whole back rebuilt. And I had this vision in my mind that I was going to bring her home from the hospital and put her in the bed, and she was going to lay around for 30 days and magically get well, and life would go on.
Yeah.
And, I think I got a little bit of an education in the hospital when I showed up there the morning after her surgery, and she told me she had to use the restroom. And I said, "Oh, well, go ahead." And she said,
Yeah.
"No, I need you to bring the IV pole and I need you to assist me with the process." And
Mhm.
immediately alarms went off for me. I'm like, this should be a nurse or a caretaker. I mean, she said, "You are my caretaker. Do you remember, for better or worse, in sickness and health?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but there's some lines we just don't want to cross." But,
Right,
I'm kind of making light of that. But seriously, when we got home, she's like needing me to put socks on her feet. She needs me to bring her food. She got a little bell so she could ring it and call me. And I mean, taking care of another adult is truly exhausting.
right.
So I know that your facility is, I mean, I don't want to diminish it in any way, but it's kind of like a babysitting facility for grown-ups that are experiencing Alzheimer's, that really gives a caretaker a break, while at the same time giving the Alzheimer's patient activities to engage in that occupy and stimulate the mind. So it's on
Right.
that note, about how many people do you serve, and as terms of patients?
Yeah, well, so one thing that's really important is that we use the term clients because they choose to become our clients and their caregivers. We serve them as well. So, just like you were mentioning, it is about the client being able to be engaged in socialization, stimulation. There's good therapies and different music and dance and things we do, art. Sometimes we bring in pet therapy as well. But then it's also about that respite that you were mentioning, the much needed time for the caregiver, whether that caregiver just needs to still work or go to doctor appointments for themselves. It's very important. So when we look at the work that we do here as a day program, we serve 120 registered clients right now on a daily basis. It's averaging about 30 to 35 census. But the number before COVID was around 50, 55. So we're still growing back to those numbers. And in the meantime, when we say 30, 35, that's times at least three family members, because generally you're serving the whole family on this journey as well. And we have a weekly support group every Wednesday. It's free for those to attend, whether you have a loved one registered with us or not. And it's really important that people realize this journey can be very dark and devastating, and a lot of twists and turns of unknown factors that you face, but you don't have to face it alone. We try to be the light. We try to hold your hand and provide resources, referrals, opportunities beyond our day program.
What I just can't express how much I feel that this is beneficial to those people. I mean, both the your client and their families. And I mean, maybe somebody just wants to get away and go shop at the mall by themselves, and your facility gives them the opportunity to do that and to disconnect for an hour or all day, I suppose, with the hours that you have. We started talking about your the Heart Never Forgets gala that you just did, and I know that you do several fundraisers each year. And I know that you have one that it's kind of coming up in January. It's certainly my favorite fundraiser. You
Oh,
already
yeah.
know where I'm going, right?
It's
And
sweet. And we actually just set the date. So who's ever listening in is going to hear this first. We are thrilled to bring back the annual Hodel Cinnamon Roll Drive. And Don Hodel and Derek Jeffrey with KGT, we just confirmed the date for Wednesday, January 18th. And so our goal with that is all morning long. We go into the afternoon sometimes, but we sell out around 2,000 pans of cinnamon rolls. And again, it's a great way to share our message, but it's also just a fun way to share a little bit of, sweetness with our community.
Well, yeah, they're not just any cinnamon rolls. I
No,
mean,
they are,
these are
they're quite special.
spectacular. And so I make it a point, as you know, every year to come through the drive-through line. Folks, you don't even have to get out of the car. You just drive through. You
Yeah.
have your $20 bill in hand. Well, I say $20 bill. I don't know. How much are they,
It
Janelle?
is 20. Of course, with inflation and everything, we had to raise that price point from the past. But $20, just think of it this way, you're providing an also with your donation of the cinnamon rolls, an hour of care to our clients. So it
Oh,
goes twofold. Yeah.
you
You give
need
and you
you
get.
need not
Yeah, you give and
justify
give
it
them.
with me.
Yeah, yeah.
If you raise the price to $40 for a tin, I'd still get it. But I say $20. Now, when I come through the line, I have $20 in my hand, which is for me, but then I also buy two more because my
Yeah.
wife is a 911 operator, and those 911 operators love those cinnamon rolls. And when I show up with those, I am the hero for the day. And
Yeah,
even not
yeah, and
911.
we use chosen payments with that. Matter of fact, last year was our first time being able to work with the mobile devices and really sped up the process. So it was really great to be able to keep our line. We have two lines that move all morning, and we start dark and early with that one. It's
Oh
before
yeah.
5 a.m. But yeah, it's a great way to process that payment, that donation, and makes it safe and easy for our donors to do so.
And I know that, we've now mentioned two fundraisers, but you have more, right? What's your favorite fundraiser for ADAKC?
You
Oh,
know,
I
it,
might put you on the spot.
it's so hard because they all are so meaningful, but probably my favorite one is one that I recreated from an idea called Senior Prom. And we we hold that in May, and we play on the word senior as our senior citizens because we really want not only our clients and caregivers to have a special moment together. We have a crowning prom king and queen and dance, and we dress up in almost every decade. We take it back to the 40s, 50s, 60s, a little 70s sometimes. But I think what's so special about that is we see the young and the young at heart come together, and we see all the community support it. So whether you are, a client of ours, that's wonderful, that's special, but you also might just be, someone who wants to celebrate. And we reached out to the Shafter community last year, and a whole bus of Shafter residents came and joined us and had a great time. So senior prom, it happens in May. It's just a really special night. Just dance, have a good time, and know that you're also raising money to keep our mission here at ADAKC in action, keep our doors open, keep us serving this community.
Well, I do love to dance, so I'll have to put a note that that's coming up in May and be there this year for that. I'm glad that you talked about that, the mobile readers in a fundraising setting. Well, let me ask you, and you talked about, of course, being a chosen payments client. What was a decision that led you to become a chosen payments client?
Well, we're all very relational. And of course, our history together, that helps, right? You introduced this product to us. And at the time, we had gone through just a really challenge with our website donation processing. We were trying Slack, or I'm sorry, I don't even think that's what it's called anymore. Anyway, we're trying some other options. We had PayPal, we had a few other things that just weren't working as effectively, and some of the price points were higher. So again, every dollar we raise stays here, stays local, and we have to be good stewards of our fundraising dollars. So when we were seeking a new option, the timing was perfect when you brought it to the table for us to consider chosen payments.
All right. Love hearing it. And you talked a little bit about COVID and the effects that it had on your organization. Now, I'm going to assume that you had to completely shut down, right? I mean, you could not care for your clients.
It was a very difficult time because we could have stayed open as essential workers. Definitely the work we do qualifies, but since we serve such a vulnerable population and so many unknown factors, the board decided to close. Once we closed our doors to the day program, we stayed closed for 8 months. And in that time, I mentioned earlier, we really had to reimagine our work and how we serve. And so we became a center beyond our walls. We still stayed, half of our team, especially our leadership team, stayed on payroll. We shifted gears to delivering food boxes, activity kits, teaching our caregivers to Zoom so they could do support group on Zoom. crisis calls, FaceTime. So we really had to shift gears, but then also keep our business running because we're a local brick and mortar business in that sense. We still have to pay the electricity. We own the building,
Hmm.
but we still have to pay for gardening and different things that, keep it running and functioning. So it was a challenging time. We learned a lot. And I think through all of that, what I would always encourage our team, with every alert that came down from the governor or from local, that we can't control those factors. But what we
Right.
can control is how we show up for each other. And we're going to continue to show up for our clients with compassion. And so that's what we try to do.
Love it. Anything else you want to add about ADAKC before we sign off?
I would just say if you're on this journey or know someone and you're just questioning, where to go, what's the next step, just reach out to us. Go to our website, adakc.org. There is a caregiver checklist right there in a pop-up menu, or you can just, email us info@adakc.org.
Love it. On that note, and considering that our chosen scoop is seen nationally, is there other organizations that serve Alzheimer's families?
Yes, there are. So we are a local nonprofit. We are a licensed day program. There are other licensed day programs throughout the nation, and we stay involved with some of the best practices through an organization that's the National Association of Day Service Agencies. Uh, and that's a good one to search. Also, just in Alzheimer's in general, we collaborate on the research side with Alzheimer's Association. So if you just need some help there, there's a 24/7 hotline. Highly recommend you check them out, alz.org.
Okay, great. So if you're not in Bakersfield, California, or Kern County, there are resources very similar to what ADAKC offers in your area. So be sure to Google that information because I'm sure there's a center like Janelle's somewhere in your area. We've been speaking with Janelle Capra, Executive Director of Alzheimer's Disease Association of Kern County. Thank you so much for your time today, Janelle. I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
All right, that's it for this episode of The Chosen Scoop. We'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.